the money for closing. We need that money today.
Show me the money! Show me the money!
This is Ron Cika, your friendly broker.
And Howard Vernick, your mortgage guru. And we'll explain how to avoid these situations in this edition of Contract Talk.
We are seeing a number of situations where buyers are given escrow deposits and expecting those funds to be transferred as cash for closing or returned due to a rejected offer even before the funds have cleared the bank.
Now, a title company or an escrow holder cannot release any funds until they know those funds are clear.
That's right. You also have to make sure that all the parties to the contract have agreed to allow those funds to be released.
Now, we've had a bit of confusion lately, so let's explain how the banks clear the funds and how the parties to a contract can agree to release those funds.
Deposits are given in a number of different forms. Buyers can get personal checks, cashier's checks, money orders, traveler's checks, cash, or they can even wire funds into our account.
Now, cash can only be given in small increments, and the traveler's checks and money orders can only be bought in small denominations. So really, we're talking about using personal checks, cashier's checks, and wires to get that money into the escrow account.
Now, wire transfers and cashier's checks are both considered clear funds as soon as they hit the bank.
Yes, they are, but there's been a rash of fraudulent cashier's checks out there, so title companies are not going to fund anything unless they can verify the validity of those cashier's checks with the issuing bank.
Now, really, this is only an issue when a buyer uses a cashier's check for closing. And to avoid funding delays, they should try to give the check to the title company early enough so the title company can verify from the issuing bank the validity of that check.
The only exception to this is when a cashier's check is written from a foreign or non-U.S. banking institution.
Believe it or not, these cashier's checks can take weeks to clear.
So all buyers who are using banks that are outside the United States have to wire the money into the title company.
But please, inform their buyers that their bank will net the wire from the amount sent. So they have to find out the cost of the wire and add that amount to the amount they're sending to escrow.
So if they're sending $100,000, they have to send $100,000 plus the cost of the wire. So when the wire gets to the escrow company, they'll get the full $100,000.
That's right. Now, personal and company checks are a totally different animal. The banks can't give us a specific amount of time for those checks to clear.
A number of title companies won't even take them, and the title underwriters, they hate them.
Now, Next Star Title will accommodate our real estate agents and will accept personal checks, but there's going to be a 10-day wait period because we've never seen a check bounce after 10 days.
Now, personal checks can never be used for closing, but they're often used for initial deposits. So if you have a customer that doesn't want to have to wait to get their money back, they would have to give us a printout showing that they had a balance before they gave the check, show the check coming out, and then show a balance afterward. This way we can verify that with their bank and release their funds.
Now, NetStar will verify the printout with our own bank, and once verified, the funds can be refunded or released.
Of course, nobody wants to go through all this, and if you have customers that you think will have an issue with this process, just have them give their deposits in the form of a wire transfer or a cashier's check.
The other issues we've seen is that buyers and agents want monies transferred or released without the proper releases from all parties to the contract.
Now, we find three situations where this happens mostly. Number one is when an offer doesn't get accepted. Number two is when a deal dies in the middle of the transaction. And number three is when a transaction is being closed by another title company and funds have to be transferred to them for closing.
And we hate when any of this happens. But on the second page of our authorization to release funds, there's details on how we can release funds. We attached a copy of that right below.
It is right down there, and everybody should really familiarize themselves with this and let your buyers know what to expect before they give the deposit.
You know, a part of the agreement in the real estate contract is who will hold the escrow deposit, and if the monies have to be moved, both parties have to agree to it in writing.
Now, in a number of cases, the buyer or the seller default on the contract, and the monies are going to go to one or the other parties. We can never be, and the title agent can never be, the judge or jury in this situation. The parties have to make an agreement and let us know, or the judge is going to have to let us know.
And of course, if the parties never came to an agreement, meaning a contract wasn't accepted, the buyer can request the funds. The title company will verify that no agreement was actually accepted and the funds cleared, and then funds can be released.
Again, everybody has to really keep themselves familiar with these rules and let your buyers know. This way there'll be no surprises.
I hope this information will help set your customers' expectations when they give you a deposit for either a purchase or a rental.
Ron, I always feel like people can deal with situations as long as they know what to expect.
They do, and in knowing your customer's situation, you can prepare them to structure their transaction for a successful outcome.
And we want successful outcomes.
Please, remember to take a look at our release guidelines below. And please, let us know what your experiences are in the comment section below as well.
I say this every week, but your comments and suggestions are why we're here. We want you to grow as individuals, we want to grow as individuals, and we want the company to grow also. And we need your input to make this happen and head in the right direction.
This is Ron Cika, your friendly broker.
And Howard Burnett, your mortgage guru, saying thank you for joining us in this edition of Contract Talk.